Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So as the NHL Trade Deadline approaches, which is already tomorrow, I thought this would just make perfect sense to do this kind of video. So let's just get right into it, because I'm going to be doing plenty of videos tomorrow. I can promise you that, especially regarding the Rangers, assuming they make some kind of moves, so make sure to be back for that. But the New York Rangers, they have been on a ridiculous hot streak since the All-Star break. Going into the All-Star break, the New York Rangers were 11 points out of the playoffs. Now they're only 4 points out and trailing the second wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. So what does that mean? Does that affect the trade deadline? In my opinion, it does, but to an extent. So let's break it down. In 61 games played this year, the New York Rangers have 33 wins, 24 losses, and 4 overtime losses. And in their last 10 games, they are 8-2. And then I believe they are 10-3 before that. And overall, the New York Rangers have been playing some of their best hockey of the season. There's no question. They're playing games that, in their minds, especially from the players, would not have won certain games, certain amount of these games a couple months ago versus now. So they have been rolling, and that's all been in part from the likes of Igor Shesterkin, who I will get to. I have a lot to say about guys like Chris Kreider or Temi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, just the team as a whole and the team defense has really come together since having a poor start to the season. The first half really gave me no inclination that this team would even have a remote chance of making the playoffs, but they are constantly proving me wrong, and I love that about them, as they are my favorite team. So the Rangers, what can be expected from them come the deadline? Well, obviously you know about all the talks really all season long with guys like Chris Kreider, with Ryan Strome, Jesper Fast, and the goaltending situation with Igor Shesterkin's emergence. What does that mean for guys like Alexander Georgiev and, of course, the Kane Henrik Lundqvist? So starting off with Kreider, in 60 games played this year, Kreider has 24 goals, 21 assists for 45 points, has a plus 12 in the plus-minus column, and his career high is 53 points in the 16-17 season, where he had 28 goals and 25 assists. And Kreider, in his last 10 games this season, has 10 points, and in his last 32 games has 32 points. So Kreider has had a ridiculous tear in such a great way for the Rangers, really trying to show his efforts of why they should keep him. But ultimately, as fantastic as his play is, it really comes down to him and what he thinks is best for his future. Now, in regards to Kreider, with the play that he has been on, the team as a whole, the Rangers went from being so far out of the playoffs to really close. I don't know how much that changes the mindset of Jeff Gorton. Now, as much as me, a Rangers fan, and you, I'm assuming as well, would love to see the Rangers back in the playoffs, we also have to be realistic about the situation. In regards to Kreider, what are they going to do? In my opinion, Jeff Gorton is probably thinking this way. If he does not get a return that he feels is best, and Kreider's return at the deadline, in my opinion, would be a massive haul if he were to be moved. By far the biggest haul out of all of the guys that could be moved or have been moved already this season in the NHL. So unless that return comes, I could see a scenario where Gorton, say, keeps Kreider and really hopes that they can negotiate a deal. If he feels that there's a strong disconnect between the two, then I could also see him moved for whatever the best offer is that he receives, even if it's maybe not what us fans or management was hoping for, so he doesn't take the risk of losing Kreider for nothing at the end of the season. But then there's also the mindset of keeping Kreider, hoping that contract is made and is fit for both sides, and helping them go to playoffs. And another thought you can also think of is Kreider being named captain if he resigns with the Rangers. In my opinion, I think that would be a great idea. I know that everyone's been wanting Mika Zibanejad to be the captain for the New York Rangers next. And while he is a perfect candidate, if the Rangers re-sign Kreider and Kreider takes a significant pay cut, it would only make sense. He's one of the oldest guys on the team, has been with them for so long now, and is a key contributor to their success in and out of the locker room. And Kreider overall, he has a modified no-trade clause on his contract. He's a UFA at the end of this year, obviously, with a cap hit of $4.625 million. So the only way I can see Kreider staying with the team is if he obviously takes a significant cut from what he would be getting on the open market. So we're talking, say, maybe around a 3-year deal, tops 4, you see him getting around $7 million. But if it's longer than that, between 6 and 7 years, it would really have to be around 5.56 mil. And it's a question of, is Kreider willing to do that, and are the Rangers willing to do that? Is Gorton willing to commit that amount of money with having to re-sign other key restricted and some unrestricted free agents at the end of this year? And I'm going to get down to them now. Starting with Ryan Strome, the 26-year-old centerman / winger in 61 games played this year has been fantastic for the Rangers. He has 16 goals, 39 assists for 55 points, and a plus-minus of 21. And this is a career-high season for him. So really, since he's come to the Rangers, he has really been fantastic. At first, it seemed like, his shooting percentage being so high when we acquired him last year, that it was kind of just a bluff. It would go down a lot. That really hasn't been the case with his overall play. He has really been strong for the Rangers. He has 11 points in his last 10 games. And since being acquired by the Rangers in 124 games with them, he has 34 goals, 54 assists for 88 points. That is amazing, honestly, for what was expected of him and what we gave up to get him in Ryan Spooner. That is a fantastic deal that has been done, and Strome has been a key contributor to the Rangers' success, and really kind of puts us in a tough scenario now with Strome, because you don't want to overly commit to him, but at the same time, you don't necessarily want to get rid of him either. He's been a perfect guy in the Rangers' top 9, top 6, alongside Artemi Panarin and Jesper Fast. That line has been fantastic for the Rangers all season long. And he currently has a cap hit of 3.1 mil and is an RFA at the end of the season. So, in my opinion, I can definitely see Gorton trying to keep Strome if he can get him at the right term. In my opinion, a bridge deal would almost make sense in this case, especially, and maybe obviously a raise, but nothing too overbearing, and then they can reassess, to make sure that they don't commit to Strome long term, especially with him being in his contract year, and say he has a flunk of a season next year, things like that. But I don't think Strome will be moved come the deadline tomorrow, but I wouldn't be unbelievably surprised if it happened either. Now, Anthony Deangelo, who's one of my favorite players on the team. Tony D, the 24-year-old right-hand defenseman in 59 games played this year, has 13 goals, 13 assists for 45 points, and has a plus-minus of 15. So he's had another year, fantastic year, career-high year as well. Another great acquisition the Rangers got a couple years ago that has really progressed tremendously, in my opinion, especially under David Quinn. I think he's done a fantastic job with helping him out and, straightening out his game, not just defensively, but mentally as well, just becoming more mature and still being a fun guy in the locker room and things like that. We all know him for the kind of social media personality he has, but he's been playing great on the ice, and that should not be overlooked by any stretch of the imagination. So, Deangelo, he has 6 points in his last 10 games, and since being acquired by the Rangers a couple years ago in 152 games played, Deangelo has 17 goals, 66 assists for 83 points, and has the best contract in the NHL when you look at point for price. He's only costing the Rangers $925,000 this year and is an RFA at the end of the season. So he is definitely going to need a significant increase in pay. I do think the Rangers are going to give it to him, but it's another thing with the amount of depth the Rangers have defensively with their prospect pool. It's another tough scenario because I'm sure they want to keep Deangelo, but I also don't think that they're going to necessarily give him a ridiculous contract either. And with having guys like Jacob Trouba and Brady Shea on the team with those contracts as it is, I don't know what Deangelo's future with the Rangers should be expected as. For my opinion, I really hope the Rangers can work things out with him and keep him long term, but that is yet to be seen. But in my opinion, I don't see Deangelo getting moved tomorrow. And Jesper Fast, another one, UFA. We all love Fast. How can you not? The 28-year-old winger on the second line, really, for the majority of the season for the Rangers. In 60 games played this year, has 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 points. And his career high was 33 points in the 17-18 season. That was 13 goals and 20 assists. And he has 5 points in his last 10 games, including 2 goals last night in the Rangers' win over San Jose. And has a cap hit of 1.85 mil and is a UFA at the end of the season. Fast, I could definitely see the Rangers keeping, but if there are a lot of guys a lot of teams asking for him come the deadline tomorrow, I wouldn't be all that surprised to see him moved either, because if you can get a significant return for a guy like Fast, who, as much as we love him, is more easily replaceable than some of the other guys I've discussed, then you don't hesitate in a situation like that. But I really hope the Rangers do keep fast. I have no hard feelings when it comes to him. I've loved him ever since he came on the team. He's been a perfect glue guy. Wherever you put him, he will help that line tremendously. So fast does the little things, especially on defense, that get overlooked. And statistically, you might not notice it, but if you're watching game in and game out, you know that on a nightly basis, he is one of the best Rangers out there. So after that, we have Brady Shea. And yes, Shea is not a UFA or RFA. He has 5 years left on his contract at $5.25 million. But I have him on here because there's been speculation about him possibly being moved. I believe he's been on TSN's trade list. I could be wrong, but I think he's on there. And Shea would be perfect to move, in my opinion. I know that there are some people that really like him and others don't. I went from really loving the guy to really preferring us to move him, especially, and by us I mean the Rangers, especially with the amount of term left on his contract for his play and the amount of depth we have defensively with our prospects, as I recently mentioned. It only makes sense to move a guy like him and get a significant return. There's been rumors about him possibly being moved to, like, say, the Florida Panthers or another team that's seeking a top 4 defenseman. And if I'm Jeff Gorton and the New York Rangers, you need to do that, especially now. So Shea, the 25-year-old defenseman in 60 games played this year, has 8 goals, 15 assists for 23 points, and has a +/-6. His career high has not been hit since he was a rookie in the league. Back in the 16-17 season, he had 5 goals, 34 assists for 39 points, and he has 2 points in his last 10 games. And yeah, in my opinion, Shea would be a perfect guy that we can move. So I really hope it does happen, but that is yet to be seen. I expect a lot to happen come the deadline tomorrow, but I feel like there will be some moves that maybe weren't expected, and Shea could possibly be one of them. So we'll see what happens, but Shea, it just makes perfect sense to move a guy like him. I think at this stage right now, it would almost make a lot of sense to move a guy like Trouba as well, but I don't see that happening. I don't think the Rangers are necessarily pursuing that, and I also don't think that there would be teams willing to take on his cap hit right away. So Shea, hopefully he's gone, in my opinion, but that is yet to be seen. And going to the goaltending finally, Igor Shesterkin, since he came to the Rangers, has been lights out for them. He is 9-1-0 in his first 10 games started with the New York Rangers. He has a goals allowed average of 2.23 and a save percentage of .940. He has been lights out, as I said, and I could not be happier. I've been looking forward to seeing him play for the Rangers years now. What, five years now it's been since the Rangers drafted him? He's been so hyped up and coveted in the KHL, and now he's come to North America and has done everything that we would have expected him to do and much more. So Shesterkin puts the Rangers in a tough scenario with their goalie situation, with Alexander Georgiev and Henrik Lundqvist both being easily expendable. Now it's just a question of which one will get moved. In my opinion, I won't be surprised if one of the two goaltenders is moved tomorrow. Henrik Lundqvist is a more tricky situation due to his cap hit at being over $8 million for not just this year, but next year as well, and having his no move clause. So nothing will change unless he waives that and has a list of teams he would like to be moved to. So you look at the scenarios that's been happening with Carolina Hurricanes, with the injuries they've sustained, with last night having an emergency backup goalie, which was awesome, might add, come in the game against Toronto, which Carolina ended up winning. But they have both their goalies hurt right now. And then you also have other teams in the league that would be seeking goaltending come playoff time. The Colorado Avalanche make a lot of sense as well, with Philip Grubauer being injury prone throughout the year and not having full trust in Francouz to get the job done come playoff time. So one of those would make perfect sense. But Georgiev, let's start with him. The 24-year-old goaltender in 28 games played this year has 14 wins, 10 losses, and 1 overtime loss. Has a goals allowed average of 2.98 and a save percentage of .912. So a very solid season for Georgiev once again. And he has a cap hit of $795,000, I believe. $93,000, I should say. And is an RFA at the end of the year. I don't want to see the Rangers move Georgiev, but if the price is right and they decide not to do anything with Lundqvist, they don't buy him out in the summer, then you might as well move Georgiev when you know you can get a significant return for him. And then you have Lundqvist, the 37-year-old goaltender, the face of the franchise for how long? That's been, 15 years? It's been ridiculous. Hank, in 28 games played this year, has 10 wins, 11 losses, and 3 overtime losses. and has a goals allowed average of 3.12 and a save percentage of 902. So unfortunately, the era of Henrik Lundqvist has reached an end, with Igor Shesterkin undoubtedly being the number one goaltender for the Rangers for the future. So I love Hank to death. He will always be one of, if not my favorite NHL player of all time. But the time has come, and I really hope for his sake that he does have a list that he would be like to move to, so the Rangers don't have to get in the scenario of buying him out this offseason. But we'll see what happens. Overall, I do expect a goaltender to be moved tomorrow, and if not, then okay, then they're going to go with the 3-goalie rotation for the rest of the year and see what happens. But the Rangers have the 6th ranked offense in the league currently at averaging 3.33 goals per game, and they have the 17th ranked defense averaging 3.06 goals allowed per game. But their defense has been much better than what it was the first half of the season, and I give full props to everyone on the coaching staff. Even though as much as I have been against Lindy Ruff, especially for the New York Rangers, you cannot doubt that there has been a significant difference at times with this Rangers defense. But that is also in part of Igor Shesterkin's stellar play. When the guy can bail the Rangers out night in and night out with having over 40-plus saves like he did last night against San Jose, when the Rangers didn't have their legs for the majority of the game, it makes the defense look better when in reality they weren't playing fantastic. So that's really all I have to say. I could keep going on, but I didn't want to make this video too long. If you're a Rangers fan like me, please let me know what you think. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know what you think is going to happen tomorrow at the deadline. A lot of things are bound to happen. And like I said, I will be making videos for every serious trade that happens tomorrow. I will get it up as soon as I can, and hopefully you get to check it out. And if you haven't checked out previous videos, please do. I really appreciate it. I just do NHL content as much as I possibly can, and just things I feel are best to make a video about. So like, subscribe, comment, all those great things. Let me know what you think about this video and what you think will happen with the New York Rangers tomorrow. So thank you all so much, and I will be back again tomorrow.